19 вересня
19th of September, Media Center of Ukraine continues its work. My name is Svetlana Nishiparenko, and we will be talking about the methodology of influence of staying in the control of aggressor of Ukrainian children. Thousands of Ukrainian children are staying in the enemy territory, and the enemy is militarizing these children in practice, putting them under torture and breaking their connection with the native land. We present to you Tamara Pirozhenko, corresponding member of the National Academy of Educational Sciences of Ukraine, Nataliia Havrysh, philosophy doctor in pedagogy, Yanina Omelchenko, acting head of the Laboratory of Consultative Psychology and Psychotherapy at the Kostiuk Institute of Psychology of the National Academy of Educational Sciences of Ukraine, candidate of psychological sciences, and Kateryna Rashevska, philosophy doctor in international law, expert at the Regional Center for Humanists. Ms. Tamara, I would like to start the discussion with you. So the deportation issue of Ukrainian children is being studied. This question, because of its massiveness, because of its tyrannical nature, is unique. So please tell us about this study, about its uniqueness, and what does it separate, how it's separated from other such studies. Thank you, Ms. Svetlana. Hello, everyone. I'm glad with the fact that we are discussing this problem in a wide circle of specialists, journalists, and other activists, because we know that this is horrible. These are horrible influences of war, and especially the topic of hard losses, difficult losses, is concerning for our children. I was working with children that had potential development problems and preservation of activity of a child. So how this activeness keeps from a young age to adulthood. However, during when the war broke out, and the question arose how to approach this problematic, how to evaluate the criminality of the actions of the enemy, and these are children, and one doesn't need to look for any kind of proof. They just need more attention, and focus has to be put on the damage, on the losses, and the future. So the methodology was one of the main questions for this study, and the uniqueness of this study is the fact that the key notion that could unite the significance for the child themselves and for their relatives, all these losses that could unite our efforts and the diagnostical and also help elaborate the category of the health is also very important in terms of existence in the society. They determine that fact that under the conditions of criminal influences, we are capable of recording things that are influencing physical health, mental health, and spiritual health too. So during the development of the methodology for this study, the uniqueness of it is in the fact that during its selection, the STEM word, the basis word for this study was health. It starts with health, it continues with health, and it's about how to find this help that would facilitate securing the well-being of children. So, specifically in this, the uniqueness is lying. And on our planet nowadays, when we have all these wars, all these catastrophes, and when we were doing our studies, we found out that we can actually fixate those losses that the people are undergoing during a war. The horrible uniqueness of our situation is also in the fact that children are existing not in a normal war, like a classical war. However, there is a notion of a cognitive damage that is accumulating during wars. So that's why during the development of this methodology, the uniqueness of the concept is also in that it's relying on the biopsychosocial-ontological model paradigm and analysis of damaging influences of political indoctrination and militarization of Ukrainian children. I would like to emphasize that the uniqueness also lies in the fact that in this situation the enemy state is doing everything to change the mentality of a child, and everything that forms the senses of existence in religion, in art, in all spheres of human life, they change. They do in reality change, and the context is being also changed for the children in order to manipulate. The spiritual damage at that is immeasurable. How the inner world of a child changed. What was the scale of this change? Well, this is the goal. This is the aim of our work, to basically find out how the picture of the world, how the view of the world that is based on Ukrainian traditions, how it changed. So this is our study's goal, is to find out how to quantize the changes that happen to the souls of children. So the uniqueness in the general is that in the concept, in approach, it needs to be determined, not only the losses, but also it needs to be shown that a human is not only a physical being, it's also a social being and a spiritual being too. And these social and spiritual personalities are included in this study. So briefly speaking, this is what separates our study from others of such kind. Ms. Tamara, I would like to talk to you about the tools that you use and groups that you were working with. Hello, thank you. I would like to first focus on the fact that we need more understanding of what we are facing, what challenges we are facing. I'm working with the problematic of mental health of children starting 2014, and I have understanding of its course and which are the main parameters and symptoms that are showing that there are problems with mental health. However, the problem is also in that children are often displaced from their location of living, and it is sometimes the question is also if a child can already characterize the situation around them. Also, indoctrination that they are undergoing in the Russian Federation, it is horrible because the children don't yet understand what exactly is happening. So these damages, these traumas, they touch upon syndromes of intrusions, flashbacks. There are also additional symptoms that appear in children because of the indoctrination, militarization. These are, for example, cognitive transformations and loss of connectivity as well. And in connection to this, our group distilled a unique notion, a unique concept, and it is called syndrome of lost connection. This notion includes the symptoms that a child faces due to the both military actions and also due to indoctrination and militarization from the part of the country aggressor. So this was methodologically developed paper, and this paper has already underwent initial validation in a scientific journal, and it will be unifying everything that we are facing right now. So the syndrome of the lost connection. What do we imply? We are seeing when first of all, a child is losing a connection to their world, to their social entourage. They also lose connection in a global sense. If, for example, if in their own home they have their connections, their entourage, and they can use these connections in order to find a solution to a problem. But for the children that are right now in the under the control of the Russian Federation, they lose everything that constituted their world. So the children are forced to refuse their identity, to be ashamed of their native language. And our task is why we are saying that there are different specialists and that the media also have a role. Why? Because we have to call things what their actual names are. So the trauma is not internal trauma emerges does not emerge under normal conditions. It only emerges when a person is isolated. So our task is not only rehabilitate these children, not only return them to their society that they belong to, but also to find a justice for these children in order to balance out those traumas, because otherwise these traumas can be a problem not only for these children, but it can also be passed from generation to generation if we don't do anything about it. About the particularities of the diagnostics, it is multimodal. It is indicating it is diagnosed by the age and also by the factors that I just named, this emotional sphere, cognitive sphere, social sphere, psychosocial sphere, sphere that is based on the spiritual dimensions. So the multimodal approach that could entice this phenomenon and not only describe it but also give understanding of what the next steps have to be. And it is important not only for the experts. It's not because this question, this problem is not only pertaining to the psychological experts, but because the people that are working with children and the society in general has to understand what kind of problem we are facing, what these children are living with, what is being transformed, and thanks to this we will be able to finally return our children not only physically from the territory of the aggressor country but also return them mentally. Thank you, Miss Yanina. Miss Nataliia, I would like to talk to you about how the professionals need to behave, the professionals that will be meeting these children the most, what they need to do for this kind of rehabilitation of children. Thank you. Our whole work on development of this methodology was focused on a systematic approach, and we took into account different aspects that are connected to violation and of the rights, and there is different approaches that are developed for different age groups of children, and also for children that have different degrees of this damage. There are children that have situational manifestations, and after some consultative work, they will be fine. However, there are also children from all age categories that are being basically an example what happens to people if nothing is being done, because we have examples of children that have much more deeper damage sustained in terms of mental health too. So the complex approach we are aiming at also in doesn't stop at the diagnostic work. It also is planning for the work of parents, of psychological workers. So we also propose which practices we recommend to use when working with these children. So taking into account the scale of the works that are required for rehabilitation of the children. So we kind of created this construction kit of the tools that includes all the experiences, both domestic and international, in the psychological domain. And I need to say that there are studies similar to ours, but the scale that we're having here in Ukraine, we didn't see it in other countries. So there is an algorithm, there is a system, there is a complex of different progressive practices and different professionals, psychological sphere, and other spheres, the professionals that will be working with those children have the possibility using a certain procedural program that they will be using during the work with a child. They could develop immediately a program of rehabilitation for a child. And I need to also emphasize that this problematic question it does not only concern us, but also the international community, and we need to invite as many representatives of our society as possible. Ms. Tamara, I would like to deepen this topic, and what can you say about what can help children to reintegrate into Ukrainian society? The situation, for example, when in a nursery, in one class, in one group, there will be children that were also that existed that stayed in the territory that's occupied right now. So in situations like that, what can we do? What do we need to tell? I will start with that the situation is individual for every child, and a lot will depend on the specifics of the situation. The problem is that I support Ms. Nataliia. We don't have a scientific approach yet. If we don't look for the methodology, if we don't develop it, it will be developed by our enemies, by the aggressor. Literally today, I faced the situation when a humanitarian laboratory of the Yale University says that 35,000 children are staying in the territory of the aggressor country, and they are involved there in the work that's connected to the development of the drones, and they are potentially getting ready as an army as of Janitars, as people who will enter the war against their own country and the Eastern Europe. So and it was claimed as such directly by the Russian Federation. So the methodology will be found, but our society needs to understand that this is our pain, this is our that unites us, and adults are experiencing an enormous amount of psychological pressure. Imagine what children live through during this war. So the people that are going to work with the children, they have to be professionals. They need to understand that the damages are of psychological nature. We did not call this phenomenon syndrome of lost connection just because it sounds nice. It's indeed it is very representative. It is very telling what is the essence of the problem. So the professionalism and the attention to each individual situation of each individual child, but in general, we as a society need to understand that this is all our common pain, and that this is all our common task to return the children. And psychological, spiritual health, and it involves some kind of activities, but what kind of activities do we have right now to offer? And this is real. This thing, the fact that we included the spiritual health, the dreams, desires, plans, everything that is connected to the values of your life, it is serving as a regulators in your life, and if they are not there for a child, if those landmarks are not there, nothing will help such a person to have a normal psychological situation, life, and it will be really hard for those individuals to realize their potential. Thank you, Ms. Tamara. I would like to add literally a couple of words, just to put it out. We are looking at the indoctrination, militarization as a type of psychological violence, and the consequences that the children are going through after that. These are the symptoms of psychological violence, and I see that our legal lawyers, colleagues, they have this defined concretely, and this is where we are using it. So we are transitioning here to the legal questions, issues of this problematic question. So we understand that it's not just a psychological damage or health damage, it's also a international crime. So what do we need to do for the world to finally evaluate these actions from the part of our enemy? Thank you, Ms. Svetlana. Indeed, I would like to more people to think, just as you said, that the militarization, political indoctrination are psychological crimes. However, last year and the year before that, we understood that it is not so. And the individual characteristics and militarization and political indoctrination, they are not crimes. They are not crimes on a national level, not only in Ukraine, but in the majority of the countries. Maybe somebody knows such a country, I don't know. And they are not crimes at the level of international criminal law. When we are talking about, for example, a Hague statute. However, what we are seeing is not just the psychological violence crimes, but also unique psychological violence crimes, and this is at the ontological level. And what they managed to distill in this study is directly connecting the informational aggression of the Russian Federation against Ukraine and their desire to root out the cognitive, the self-consciousness of the Ukrainian people, and to make them fight against other countries. This is the goals of our enemy. So on the level of legal domain, we had the idea of conduct or find concrete connections between Russian politics and concrete people that are connected to the torture or to the damage to the psychological health of a person. So our investigators managed to develop an indicator that can be used during the talk with the children that are returning home, and I would like to add that this is not only on a level of children that this methodology is being implemented, but also with the adults, with the military that are returning from the captivity, because the children are undergoing basically the same tortures that the adult military personnel is undergoing, like singing Russian anthem, learning Russian language, and so on and so on, and this can be qualified as a military a war crime, and and I already mentioned that formally these things are not crimes, and in our criminal codex it is very fragmented, and I'm not judging because on the level of other national legislations it's the same, so the punishment for these things is very, very episodical. Some of these crimes are not deemed as a crime itself, but is referring to the Hague International Court. And also we are seeing some of the changes that were implemented in the Criminal Codex of Ukraine that is gives the possibility to involve to characterize the captivity of a child as an international crime. Look at how many elements are there, and we can add here, and there are cases that in reality that are using these elements. Our investigators has said that they already conducted their evaluation of the younger kids, nursery and elementary school, and also was a legal analysis conducted. It was conducted in the same way because despite the demilitarization and the indoctrination, the educational process is equivalent for all the age groups, and let's see that the enemy is implementing a very adult programs in order to indoctrinate or manipulate the mental state of our children, and from an most unattractive the children that were from the most unattractive categories find themselves in the Russian families, and it is done specifically in order to just disperse them all over the territory of the Russian Federation, and also re-educate them, and they ideally militarize them and send them to fight a war. Also, I need to say that the militarization and also the general concept of existence of the Russian Federation, it doesn't stop there. For example, in Crimea, 25,000 people they were accounted into the. They were accounted as a military personnel of the Russian Federation because, according to the legal norms of the Russian Federation, so 25,000 people from Crimea were added to the army of the Russian Federation. So, despite Putin's promises to not conduct a draft on those territories that are newly attached to the Russian Federation, they have started drafting young men starting 2022, and in some cases those persons were Ukrainian children. You can see on the slide the crimes that we managed to register. You can read about them more in the methodology, but I would like to emphasize that the understanding of how to qualify these actions is evolving so fast that it came from deportation and forced relocation. We have came to a conclusion that this is in itself is a war crime. So the aggression of the Russian Federation is supported by these facts of so investigating the militarization of Ukrainian children is also one of the goals of the methodology. And I have mentioned about this, and this is an important question. A priority task for us for some time will be returning of Ukrainian children from the territory of aggressor country. But in this context, we need to understand that not all children will be able to return because it's 1,600,000 children. They can be returned only in case of returning those territories back to Ukraine. So we need to fixate these proceedings in a legal sphere, and we need to be guided by this when we are doing the negotiations with the aggressor country, because avoiding the status of children on the occupied territories and allow the Russians to indoctrinate in their schools and to send them to camps, militarized camps, which is getting more and more massive from each year to year, and we're fixating the increase of these institutions, 9,000 kilometers from the place of living of a child. The level of militarization that the Yale lab workers managed to record shows that we understand differently what is militarization. I have met different lawyers in my life. Some of them were saying that the militarized children are basically soldier children, but it is nonsense, because the indoctrination and militarization is happening in the camps, not on the battlefield. They live in the military camps. They are training to mine territory. Then they are jumping with parachutes. So sometimes I think that the number of parachute jumps is more than the Russian special forces have done, because our children have made so many jumps that it's basically one of the main news in the Russian media. So if we are not doing anything substantial while we are paying attention to, while we are dissipating our attention to different things like cooperation with different organizations, international organization, UN organization, we also need to address to negotiation bodies of the UN, because it is required that these decisions are fixated in different organizations. So in one of the latest resolutions of the UN, like the complaint of Ukraine and Netherlands against Russia, what I would like to finish with is that Ukraine is playing a main role due to the unique experience, and we also seeing results of these experiences because of the Russian propaganda, Russian actions, and it allows us to do our own contribution into the problematic of returning children. 500,000 people, children in the whole world are suffering because of the armed conflicts, and maybe it's our fate, to help them, to share our experiences, to share and to introduce not only the new concept of the syndrome of lost connection, but also make amendments to different international papers documents. I would like to emphasize, if you are interested in the full text of this methodology, you can receive it in paper after this presentation, or download using this QR code you see on the screen. This methodology exists in English and in Ukrainian. If you have questions to our beautiful speakers, raise your hand. We will give you a mic. Any questions, comments? You will have a mic in a second. Hello, my name is Pirozhenko. I work as a lawyer in children protection sphere. I would like to say thank you to our speakers for the psychological and the legal aspects of this problem, and they are novel too. And in context of the title of the methodology, aggressor country control over children. It's not limited by the location of the children, right? So the Ukrainian society is facing the challenges of militarizing their children to criminal activities, recruitment of Ukrainian children into acting against our own military, and also what kind of stigmatization that the children are going through, and this is some of the things that we need to go through with pride, with honor, and the methodology that's applied to Ukrainian children that are involved in the activity of Russian Federation. Thank you for your question. I think you answered this question with the question itself. Because why? Because the situation is that the situation that we described, it concerns all the participants of our life, adults, children, on the territory of Ukraine, beyond it, despite of it being occupied or not. What we need to be talking about is the prospects of our children sustaining such losses, and our society needs to be intelligent. It needs to understand that on different levels and different groups, this methodology could and has to be and should be used when working with the children that sustained such damages. This project, when it was initiated, it had a little different aim. It was about the period of time of return, but I would like to also emphasize on the fact that we are dealing not only with the military events, we also have information war, and this methodology exactly, specifically, can be as an element of countering the informational attacks. And why? Because this phenomenon, if we are broadcasting it, it will be recognized. If it's not recognized, it will be used by the aggressor country. About the question of what the society is capable of, what can we do? For our main task is to relay this information to the general public and to develop the instruments of returning and rehabilitation of our children. These are influences. These influences could be even worse in the information war. Any more questions? Thank you to our investigators, scholars. This is a very solid product. I hope it will be used in different domains. It was a methodology of studying the damage sustained by the children that are in the control of the Russian Federation, and we are already working on the next event. Stay with us.